Hi guys, welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to review and practice a little bit with your friends. Today we're going to go over scoring. You may wonder why scoring is important and why you sometimes see people going for bigger hands. This is because the more points you score in a hand, the payment goes up exponentially or semi-exponentially. Especially important if those people are playing for money. Now, I'm not going to encourage you to play for money because I don't want to be responsible for that. But if you do want to try it and start out, I recommend doing really low stakes with your friends first. Okay then, so let's get started. Generally, the points are cumulative, meaning you add up everything together. There are certain cases where there'll be a special limit hand and whatever your group is playing for as the maximum, it might just be the maximum and you don't have to count the remaining points. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so a lot of the scoring has been written up on a Wikipedia page. I'm going to go through some of them and explain them in a little more detail than what's shown. The first one we have listed here is the common hand, Pingwu, and it is basically a hand of all sequences and a pair. This example doesn't have honor tiles in it. You can have honor tiles in it, but only as the pair, because if you had three of a kind, it wouldn't be an all sequence hand. And that's worth 1 point. And the next hand listed here is the all triplets, which is called Doi Doi Wu. And that one is all three of a kinds and a pair. Depending on what you have, you may have more points than what's listed, but by default, here it's listed as 3 points. You may play in some home games that have it as 4 points. I'll get into that in a minute, but it's going to either be 3 or 4 points. The next one listed here is the 7 pairs hand, Chatdoiji. My family generally didn't play it. It's one of the ones where it's a optional house rule. However, if you do play it, there's also another stipulation that some players count 4 of a kind as 2 pairs and some do not. So you just have to agree upon that decision prior to playing. The next one you see listed here, they wrote mixed one suit, which actually I haven't heard that much. Usually I'll either hear it as a semi-pure hand or a semi-flush hand. This is basically one suit and honor tiles. So like either all bamboos and some honor tiles or all characters and honor tiles. And that's worth 3 points here. Again, it's a home game where some players I have played with will play it as 4 points. Okay, I'm going to move this up a bit. So the next one we see is the all one suit, or that, again, I don't really know it in that term, but I usually know it as a pure hand or a flush. So that one is your hand just contains all of one suit and is worth 6 points. And also another one of the ones where home game variations will occasionally have it as 7 points. The next one is the all honor tiles hand called Ziyesik, which is very hard to do. It's listed here as 10 points, but it's generally a limit hand, meaning when I say limit hand, I usually mean max limit. And by nature, it's always going to be a 3 of a kind hand because you can't do sequences with them. But once again, it's very hard and not very likely you see this hand completed. Okay, the next hand we have is the little 3 dragons, Xiu Samyun. And that's basically 3 of a kind of 2 of the dragons and a pair of the other one. And it's a cumulative score, meaning you add it to the rest of your hand. As shown in this example, it's a mixed suit hand, but it can also be, for example, if you had a semi-flush, then it'd be added on to the semi-flush. So it would be 3 plus the 4, and you keep adding whatever other points you have. It's also another one of the scoring where it can be 4 or 5 depending on what the players agree upon prior to playing. Okay, so the next one is the big 3 dragons, Dai Samyun. That one is basically a 3 of a kind of all the dragons. And it's listed as 8 points here. Okay, gonna move this up some more. The next one is Xiu Sei Hei, which is 3 of a kind of the winds and a pair of the other one. And then a set for another suit. And that's usually a limit hand. After that, we have the Big Four Happiness. Here they wrote Great Winds. In Chinese, they call it Dai Sei Hei. And that's basically 3 of a kind of all the winds and a random pair. Again, another limit hand. And then next we have the 13 Orphans, Sapsam Yu. And that one is basically a 1 and 9 of each suit and 1 of each of the honor tiles plus a pair of any of them. And that's worth 13 points. There's some special notes on this hand. One, it is able to rob a concealed Kong, and also it is not susceptible to being intercepted unless by another 13 orphans. The next one, there's actually an example listed here, but it's if your hand was composed of all gongs. So then your hand, when you win, you would actually have 18 tiles because you'd have 4 quadruplets and a pair. Here it's listed as 13 points. Again, it's another one of the limit hands. The reason I've been saying limit hands is because when we play home games, we usually have a set maximum, like 8 points as a max limit or 10 points limit. And since it goes over limit, we'll just call them limit hands. Same thing with the next one listed here. It's the self triplets, meaning all your 3 of a kinds are concealed. Home game variations that we have is even a concealed 4 of a kind wouldn't count. Some players count it and some don't. The other stipulation in our home game is even if you have 3 of a kind of 4 sets in your hand and just waiting for a single wait, some players count that as 4 self triplets, but our home game is really hard and it has to be a self pick. So this hand is always a self pick within my home game. Okay, and the next one is Ting Yu, basically, or here actually I wrote Yu Gao. Here it is all the 3 of a kinds of only the 1s and or 9s. Again, another limit hand. Lastly, this one's very hard to do because I've never seen anyone actually have it in this way. You actually have to have that exact set in your hand concealed, because you have 3 1s, 3 9s, and 1 of each from 2 through 8, and your hand is waiting for any one of them to complete the hand. But you have to have it in that exact weight to get that special bonus scoring, which I've never seen it in real life anyway. Seen on TV and movies, but never in real life. Alright, so that was the scoring based on the type of hand. Now if we were to scroll down and go to the next section, this next part talks about scoring based on the presence of certain melds. So I'm just going to go over this part quickly. Basically, if you have 3 of a kind of your position, say if you were east and you have 3 of a kind of the east, you would get a point for that. And also, the next one is whatever the current wind is, you have, or current round, I guess, to make it easier, you would get a point if you have 3 of a kind for the current round. Example, if the round was currently south and you have 3 south in your hand, then you'd have a point for that. For the dragons, 1 point for each set of the dragons. And the mixed orphan is if you have a mixture of 1s and 9s and honor tiles. Okay, and then the next section is scoring based on winning conditions. Self-pick should be hopefully self-explanatory. That's where you win on your own draw from the tile from the wall. The next one is actually not accurate for what it says. It says win from wall, but then it says mun xin cing. Mun xin cing basically means you haven't claimed any tiles from any other players for either a seung or a pong or gong, and until the last tile. You can still get the point for concealed if the last tile was discarded and you just needed to complete your win. Robbing a gong is basically if someone has an exposed gong and they add the fourth tile to it and you need it to complete your win, you can claim it for your win and it's counted as a self-pick. Win by last catch is basically you get another point for self-drawing the last tile in the wall. If you gong a tile and the supplemental replacement tile you get completes your hand for the win, also another point. Double gong win is gong seung gong. For us, it's basically a limit hand because it's a lot of points and very hard to do. Heavenly hand, only the dealer is able to get that. That's basically you open up your tiles and all 14 tiles are put together so that you have a completed winning hand. Earthly hand, Daewu, that one is the first tile discarded and anyone but the dealer, because the dealer would discard the first tile, and if anyone wins on that tile, they get the points for Daewu. Okay, and the last section is scoring based on bonus tiles, which are basically the flowers. You get 1 point for if the flower is yours, depending on what seat you're in. So east is 1, south is 2, west is 3, and north is 4. So if you were in east position, you had the number 1 flower, you would have a point for that. You also have a point for no flowers. And then if you have a set of one of the colors of the flowers called Yatoifa, then that's 2 points. Regarding some of the hands that were limit hands, I actually had this book that a friend of mine gave me many years ago when I was in college. This one here, called 100 Questions Asked, 100 Questions Answered regarding Mahjong. And there's actually a page in here regarding unlimited. If you were playing without limit, how you would add the scores on some of the hands. Actually, let me show you guys now. So right here, this one asks if you have unlimited scoring. And some of the hands, it goes over what the scores would be. For instance, here it says as standard pure hand, they have it at 7 points. Then the 13 orphans, they have it at 13 points. Then the big 3 dragons here, they put at 6 points. The little 4 happiness, that's the small 4 wins, they have it at 10. The big 4 wins, they have it at 14. The all 1s and or 9s, they have it at 10. All concealed 3 of a kind, they have it at 8. The gong upon gong, they have it at 6. All honors, they have it at 14. The heavenly win, Tinwu, they have it at 20, as well as the Daewu, earthly hand. Actually, here's something I thought was interesting though in this. In case you're wondering, the chances of getting the heavenly hand where you open your hand and get the win, that's the chances of it. So that's 1 out of 2 times 10 to the 7th, which I guess that's 10 million, 1 out of 20 million. Yeah, so pretty hard. Okay, so that was a lot for today. I hope you get a chance to review them and maybe practice a little bit with your friends and see how you can do with scoring involved now. I guess I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, go ahead and put in some comments to see what other topics you want me to go over regarding Mahjong. Anyways, I will see you next time. Good luck at the tables. Bye.